Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Java Classified. In previous video, I have already explained how to set up the MongoDB server, MongoDB tools like Mongo import and MongoDB Compass as well. If you didn't watch my previous video, so just go to MongoDB playlist and watch all the videos which is there in that list so that you will get the better understanding about the MongoDB. In today's session, I will show you how to create a REST endpoint using Spring Boot framework, Java 17 above, and MongoDB server for the storing the data into the databases. We also use the Spring Boot validator for the validation purpose. So, for creating the application, we need to open our ID. In today's session, we will use the IntelliJ. So, in the screen, you will see in the taskbar IntelliJ icon is appear. So, just click in IntelliJ icon and it will open after few minutes. So, just wait until it is not opening. So, yeah, now it is open. So, just click the new project. In the new project, just just go to start spring io, click this one. In here you need to select the project we need to select as a main. There is three type of project you can create by using IDs like gradle 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 kotlin and maven. So I'm just going to select as a maven, and in the language section we will select any type of like Java, Groovy, Kotlin. If you are creating the project as a Kotlin, so you need to select as a Kotlin. So in in today's session we will use the Java, so I'm just selecting the Java language. In the Spring Boot, we are going to select the updated Spring Boot version 4.0.0. So I'm selecting this one. In the group ID, we are going to define MongoDB, MongoDB example, MongoDB.sv dot example. In here also we are going to define Spring Boot Mongo REST API. Just scroll down and in the bottom, just selecting this one, pasting in the description, and in the bottom we need to define the package as a Spring Boot com.mongodb.sb.example, and in the packaging we need to select anyone like var or jar. So we will select as a jar. Now just scroll down, then you will see a dependency section. In the dependency section you need to add Spring Dev Tools. In another video I will explain the Spring Web Tools why we are going to use. In today's session, we will create a REST endpoints and some validation. Now we are going to use Spring Web for creating the REST endpoints. Now we are going to use MongoDB. So I'm just selecting the Spring Data MongoDB. So I'm selecting this one. Now we are going to add one more thing, validator, Spring Boot validator. So I think that is duplicated. If it is deprecated, so just 1 minute is Spring Boot bean validation via just 1 minute. We need to select validator, but it is used for validation. So just I am exploring it. I think it is removed in the updated version. So if it is there, yeah, that is fine. It is there. Okay. You can see in the explore by clicking the explore button. In here, all the added dependency you will see. Just I'm closing this one, and here in the bottom you will see two buttons, generate and explore. All if you click the explore button, then all the added dependency will see in screen. So just in here, which dependency I have added, all the dependencies will see in the dependencies section. So I'm just going to bottom. In the bottom, you can see properties tag, Java version selected 17, and in the dependencies section, all the added dependency will be there. So I have added Spring Boot, MongoDB, and Spring Boot Validator for the validation purpose, and Spring Boot Web for creating the REST endpoint. Spring Boot DevTools for refreshing. No need to stop and restart the application each and every time if we are doing any changes. Text test is by default it is occurred if you creating the Spring Boot application. So I'm just clicking the next button in the bottom. Now you need to generate first. Why it is not giving? Okay, I'm just uh, closing this one and clicking the generate button. In here, once the project generated, now we will go to next button. In here you will see our project name will appear. Now in the more option, just clicking, you will see the our root where our application is there. So I'm just clicking the create button. Now it will take few minutes in opening the IntelliJ. Once it is open, then we will create our REST endpoints. So if you see, it is downloading all the dependencies. Okay, just clicking load Maven automatic. Now closing this one. Where is our project? Spring Boot MongoDB project is there, but I'm not able to. Okay, just clicking this one. Okay, you will see in here it is appear. So let's wait until all the application will not download it in here. So it will take some times. Now if you see our Spring Boot application is appear in the left hand side. So in here we are going to click form.xml file, just closing it. Now here all the dependencies are there. So wait, it is all the dependencies. Jar will not download. So I'm just going to src main. In here resource folder is there. In the resource folder application properties is there. So I'm going to change this application property to YAML property. So just wait until it is not updated. So in here it is going to indexing right now. So wait few minutes. After that we will add the properties like server port number and MongoDB URL. Why it is taking too much time? Okay, so I'm just going to click cl- click here. I'm just going to clean. Select the clean and play the button. Click the play button. Now it is going to download all the dependent jar which is added in the dependencies section. So let's wait until it is not downloaded. Now it is built successfully. Let's go to click the install and click the play button. Yeah, now it is going to create the build. You can see in the bottom screen. So just wait until it is not created the build. Yeah, it is going to download all the dependent jar. Now it's going to check the test cases. If any test cases is there, right now there is no test cases and no code is there. We need to develop the REST endpoint. I have just building the application to check the application is running perfectly or not. Yeah, you will see it is built successfully. So I'm just minimizing this one and going to click the application YAML file in here, going to refactor it, rename it as a YAML. So clicking here as a YAML file, YAML, now refactor it, click this application .yaml file. Now we are going to define the server port. So there is a tag server colon port. In here we need to define the port number 8090. So I'm in just giving the application name as well, application colon name. Okay, just 1 minute. Here we need to define the name. Now we are going to remove this one and added this one. Now we are going to define the MongoDB Spring data MongoDB URI. Just 1 minute URI. This is the URL MongoDB colon localhost because MongoDB is running in my local system, so that's why. Now we are going to create a databases. So I'm just opening the CMD. Now here we are going to use mongoose command. Mongoose command will use to interact the databases. Now it is connected the databases. Let's go to see our all the databases which is there. So student DB is there. So I'm just going to create a use employee empdb sb empdb empdb. Now it is redirected to this DB. I'm just copying this DB and pasting in the application YAML file. Now we are going to Java folder. In here we are going to define the controller package. Also defining the one another package, model package. Now in the model package we are going to define a Java class employee. In here we are going to define some property like private string id, and I did add the id annotation on this field. Also going to add the Spring Boot emp name. Also going to add private string emp yellows c location. Now private string designation employee designation. So closing this one as well. Just added the semicolon. Now we are going to add the read document on the class label, which is treated as a collection name in our DB. So document, in the document we need to define our collection name. So in the collection we are going to define employees. Now ID is treated as a primary key in the databases, and here adding as a not blank because employee name is required. Also added as a employee location not null, not null. Also as a description as a not null. EMP designation also added not null. Now we are going to generate the setter getter. This one in upcoming video I will show you how to create the how to create the how to use the Lombok. So I'm just selecting all and clicking this one. Now we are going to generate the generate the generate the toString method. So I'm just going to right click here, click the generate. In here we are going to add toString method. Now I have added this one, closing this one, where it is gone. I think where it is gone. I need to check where my screen is going. Just 1 minute. Clicking. Yeah, now it is visible. I'm just going to create REST endpoint interfaces for this one. So here going to use interface. Now in here going to use employee interfaces. Right click in here and just why it is not giving the name. Okay, just 1 minute. I'm deleting this one. I think I missed something. So that's why it is giving this type of error. So here adding the repo. Now in the repo we are going to use interface employee repo. Here we are going to extend Mongo repository. Mongo repository. In here we are going to define employee comma string, which is a primary key ID. Now in here it will provide the for method. So I'm just adding repository on the interface layer. Here we are going to create a REST endpoints. So here we are going to define the employee controller. Now in the class layer we are going to define REST controller. Now we are going to define REST mapping. In the REST mapping we are going to define URI. So in the URI we are defined slash API slash employee. Now in the class inside we are going to define public public employee create employee. In here we are going to define add the rate valid annotation for checking the validation. Now we are going to define employee. Now in here we need to auto wire the repository of the employee. Now I'm going to add at the rate auto wire on this. So in here we are going to save this one. So I'm just passing the employee. Now going to return as well on this. So this is the post mapping for data creating the entry in the databases. So I am just going to add public list of employee for retrieving all the employees which is available in the databases. All employee. So in here we are going to just return it as a employee repo dot find all. Now we are going to import this one util. So going to add at the rate get mapping in this. So save and get those API I have created. Now we are going to update the data. So in the updating data, we are going to add public response entity. In here, we are going to add employee. Now update employee. So in the update employee, we need to add at the rate path variable. In the path variable, we are going to pass as a ID, employee ID. Now add at the rate valid for checking the validation employee emp employee. Now we are going to set all the data into the databases. So in here we are just going to where is my cursor? Okay, just I'm selecting all this one and just refactoring. Where is the refactor? Actually, I'm not able to see refactor. Go okay, type super. Actually, I'm not able to see where is refactor in the screen. Okay, we will see after after this session. So I'm just going to return repository employee repository dot find by id. In here we are going to pass id dot dot map find by id dot map. In the map we are going to define emp. So in the emp we are going to add emp dot set description. So employee dot get designation, sorry, employee designation, employee dot set employee location, employee dot get location as well, emp dot set employee name. So here we are also going to add employee dot get name. Now it is need to save the return repository dot save repository. I think repository dot save. In the save we need to add the employee which is converted in here. So I'm just going to here return response entity. In the response entity we need to define the employee dot ok. Why it is not taking the ok? Response entity dot ok. Here we are going to define the return type of the save method. So now in here or else response entity dot no data found, no found dot build. So in here we have also added the put method for updating the data by using the id. So last one we need to add the delete. So in here we are going to define public response entity void. Now going to add delete emp employee. Here we need to pass the path variable and string as a id. Now we need to return repository dot find by id. Now we need to map this one emp colon emp emp colon emp repo dot delete. In the delete we need to pass the employee. Now return the response content dot no content found dot build. Otherwise we need to add or else response entity dot not found dot build, not found dot build. Why it is giving error? Why it is giving error? I'm not sure, but It must be okay. Object type response entity object type. So not found. Okay, we need to add as a object type. So I'm just going to add delete mapping by using ID. So you can see my screen. I have created the four API. First API is are creating the employee in the databases, and second one is used for retrieve all the data from the databases. Third one is the updation of the query, and fourth one is the delete the query. So I'm just going to add one another REST endpoint employee get by ID. Here we are going to add at the rate path variable. In the path variable we are going to add as a ID which is employee ID. Now returning repository dot find by ID. In here defining the ID, defining the ID dot map. In the map we are going to add response entity dot OK, response entity dot OK. Now otherwise we need to add or else response dot entity dot not found dot wild. So I'm just going to change the return. I'm just going to change the return type in here response entity employee. Now here we are going to add get mapping with passing the ID slash ID. So 5 API I have created. Now going to Postman and going to CMD. If you see in here there is no collection will be appear. So I'm just going to use CLS for so collections command will see all the collection which is appear in the DB. So right now there is no collection is there in this DB. So I'm just open the Postman for passing the data into the API. So I'm going to run this application as well so that we can test this application. So here we are going to click the play button for running the application, allowing. So I have just click the allow access for the Postman so that it will open. So let's see. So I'm just going to open again Postman because it was facing some issue to opening the Postman. Now it is open. You can see my screen. So I'm just closing this one. In here we are going to click the new one, closing this one also closing. So I'm just typing http localhost 9090 slash API slash employee. So in the employee we are going to first create the data. So in the body we need to pass the raw data. So that is JSON type data. So I'm just going to add all the field name which is added in the class layer. So this is the class. So in here we are going to add employee. Now in the employee section we are going to add as a John. Now we are going to add employee location. Now we are going to add empty. I'm just going to also add employee designation for the posting the data into the databases. So right now I'm just going to add empty, this one and this one as well, for checking the validation. So now we are going to hit this API. You will see it is giving wide request because validation is failed. So that's why it is giving this one. You can see in the description trace, validation failed for the argument employee create employee must not be null. You can see I'm just copying this one and going to JSON viewer. In the JSON viewer we will paste this one. Now why it is not copying? Okay, I'm just going to click copy. Now it is copy. Going to Chrome. In here you can see it is giving for all the information must not be blanked, not blank. These information it is provided for the field label. So in here you can also see description, employee on field, employee designation rejected, employee location rejected, as well as here is employee name. Employee name will also rejected. So I'm just going to pass the all the data as a correct format. So I'm just going to as developer in here. So clicking the send button, why it is giving the bad exception right now as well. So I think I have missed something, but I'm not sure why it is giving. Okay, why it is giving. I think it is connoted. Okay, I'm just going to create the constructor, parameterize constructor. Maybe so that's it is giving the error. So I'm just selecting all those things, just removing this one and clicking this. Now why it is not just stopping the application and running the application again. I hope it will work now. So just wait until application is not up. So it is up. I am going to clicking the send button again. Now it will create the why it is failing. EMP location rejected. USA not null. It is not. I have already added it is not null, but why? I have already provided the data. Okay, I'm just going to stop this one and running the debugging level. So in here we are going to add the debug point in here so that we can check all the data are coming or not. So once the application is up, then we will check which data we are sending from the postman, it is coming in the controller layer or not. So going to click send button again. Now in here we are going to check it is not Not blank, that is fine. Not null. Why it is going to take as a null? Validation, I have already provided the data, but it is not taking. Not null USA employee. Okay, so how can we check that is correct way or not? So I'm just going to add this one as well and checking again. It is again giving the error with three errors. Field error in the employee designation on field label must not be null. I haven't provided the null. Why it is giving like that? Mm, mm, collection. Okay. I'm just going to again in here employee location not null. That is a Jakarta validation constraint. Not null. Not null. That is fine. Okay, that is a string type, so we need to add not blank only. In here also going to change if we are going to use integer or anything, then we can add null. Now going to stop it and running again. I hope it will work. Oh, now we are going to send the data. So why it is each and every time it is giving the error? I have already provided the data correct format. Employee post mapping as well. But in the controller layer it is just which validation I have? Jakarta validation. The validation. Hmm, request mapping employee, that is fine. Post API employee example, that is also a correct way. ID private. So I'm just going to comment this one right now. Maybe it is giving the error and now it is fine. Going to restart the application as well and checking the again. Maybe it will work. Now going to hit the API. Currently application is not up. Yeah, now it is up. I'm going to hitting the API. It is giving the error again. So I'm not sure why it is giving the employee EMP name null value not blank not blank. But I have already provided the data. How can be possible? Jakarta Spring Boot data annotation ID. Cool, that is fine. Everything is fine. Oh, collection. Okay. I have added wrong thing in here. Collection. So I'm just going to again running this application maybe. So that's why it is not created the collection in the DB. Okay, fine, fine. I hope it will work now. Let's check once the application is up. Now going to click the send button. It is again giving the same error. Okay, why? Why it is giving the error? Okay, I'm going to run again the application and checking. So yeah, now it is running. I'm going to send it again. It is giving the error. So I'm just going to our controller valid that is added valid for checking the validation. Oh, I missed the response and response request body. So we need to add request body as well. So I'm going to check another API as well. In here, we need to also add the rate request body. So that things I have missed. So that's why it is giving error. Now I'm going to stop the application, going to run again. Now it will work. So I'm just going to CMD and check the collection. Right now there is no collection in here. So I'm just going to send the data from the API once the application is up. So wait until the application is not up. Now my application is up. Now sending the data into the here, closing the rest endpoints, closing the debugging point. Now completing this one, going to postman. You will see ID will appear in the response as well. So I'm just going to open another tab. In here we are just copying the endpoint and pasting in the new tab. Here we are going to get all the data from the DB by using REST endpoint. So here only one data is there, so that's why it is giving one data. So I'm just going to use John. Okay, after John we are going to add Smith UK engineer engineer. Now we are going to hit the API. Now you will see this data is also added, and in the response you will see the ID which is created by the databases. Now we are going to get all the data. Now it will give two data as well. Now going to open another request endpoints. Here we are going to add our ID for retrieving the particular data. So I'm going to retrieving the John's data. So I'm going to pass the ID, John's ID. Now it will give the John's response data, employee name, employee IDs. Now we are going to passing the Smith ID as well for retrieving the particular data. So I'm going to pass this one. Yeah, now it is also giving. So I'm just going to update the update the data. So I'm going to updating the Smith employee location as a Canada and Also updating the employee designation as a DevOps. So I'm going to copy this one, going to click the body, click the raw, click select the JSON. In here we are going to add Canada. Now we are going to add as a DevOps. Here we are adding the ID as well. Now we are sending this API. We are sending this API by using put method. Then it will update the data. You will see in here. Now we are going to retrieving the data by passing the Smith ID. So let's check. Yeah, now updated data will appear in here. So in the first I have created the data into the databases. After that, I have retrieving the data from the databases. All the data we have retrieved without passing the employee ID. Now in the third API endpoint, I am passing the employee ID for retrieving the data from the DB. Now we have updated the data by using employee ID and employee data. Now in the fifth API, we need to delete the data. So I'm just going to delete this data by selecting the delete API. Smith data will be deleted in the databases once we have hit this API. So I'm just going to our DB. So here you will see employee collection is there. So DB dot employees dot find. You will see both the data will appear right now, Smith and John. Now we are going to delete the Smith data. So I'm just clicking the API. Now it is deleted. I also going to show you that data will not appear in the DB as well. You will see John's data only appear. So if you are going to retrieve that data as well for the Smith, so it will give no not found data. So in this video, I explain how to create the REST endpoints using Spring Boot Validator for the validation and Spring and MongoDB for the storing the data. So thank you for watching my video. If you have any doubt, so let me know. I will provide the solution. Thank you.